Today we will be putting Human Torch up against Charizard. Human Torch versus Charizard. What happens in that battle, what it looks like, who will come out the victor. About to go down, yo! So today it will be Human Torch versus Charizard. Let's start by taking a look at Charizard. He comes from the Pokemon universe, known as the Pokeverse. He is the starter Pokemon in quite a few different games. He starts as Charmander, evolves into Charmeleon, and then finally his final evolution will be Charizard, which is the one we're going to be looking at. It is his strongest evolution. In his final evolution, he evolves into Charizard, and this makes him a fire type, which he is in the first two, but it also makes him a flying type. His strongest move, according to the Pokédex and many online sources, is Fire Blast, where he sends a star-shaped blast of fire towards his opponent, which this blast is known to be hot enough to burn any metal or even rocks and boulders around him. He also has another very strong fire move known as Overheat, which is very similar to something we're going to see with Johnny Storm or the Human Torch, where he covers his body in fire and extrudes it outward. However, while those are his two strongest moves in Pokemon games, I don't believe it would be his most effective move against the Human Torch. His most effective move would actually be Dragon Claw. One of Charizard's best attributes is that he actually grows stronger the more he fights. Charizard also has, at the base of his tail, a flame, which it is said in every Pokédex that flame lights at the time of his birth and goes out at the time of his death. Now let's take a look at the Human Torch. His main ability is that he can cover his entire body in a blanket of fire. Flame on! Which actually gives him the ability to heat up his molecules to a point where they are hotter than air, making them lighter than air. This also gives him the ability to fly. His ability to fly goes beyond just the ability to levitate. His ability to fly, he can actually break the sound barrier and is able to go supersonic with his speeds while flying. Outside of flying, Johnny can actually make weapons and objects to throw or shoot out of the fire that he extrudes from his limbs. Past that, when Johnny goes Nova or Supernova, depending on what comics we look at, which this is when he burns hotter or as hot as an actual star. I can go hotter! Movie reference. The last two things about Johnny's power that we're going to take a look at is that he becomes weaker the more he uses his power. So his power dissipates the longer he uses it, completely exhausting himself if he ever does go Supernova. Also, he can absorb fire and heat to regenerate. Now that we know a little bit about the characters, let's set the scene a little bit and see how this battle would play out. It's going down. Charizard is flying around for a difficult battle to strengthen himself when he enters a restricted airspace. As the alarm sounds, Reed Richards turns to Johnny and says, "Hey, go check that out." With the flame on, Johnny takes the skies. En route, he sees Charizard, who, upon seeing that he's a worthy opponent, shoots out a fire blast. Johnny dodges to the side, yells at the beast, but Charizard knows that he'll be more effective on the ground, so he declines and lands with a thud. Walking towards him, Johnny tries to calm Charizard down, but it's not working. Charizard uses Dragon Claw and rips right into Johnny's chest. Johnny stumbles back, realizing that he's in for a good fight. He yells "Flame on" and takes to the skies. Flame on! The Human Torch gains altitude and begins to rain down fireballs upon his opponent. One lands square in his chest and explodes. Charizard decides it's time to put his foe to rest. He digs his heels into the ground while the Human Torch circles above, raining down blasts of fire. Charizard uses Overheat, sending out a wall of flame hot enough to melt rocks and steel nearby. The Human Torch, in an effort to protect himself, takes control of the wall of fire, squeezes it down, consuming Charizard. The Human Torch continues to disperse the flame and rids the area of all fire present, in turn ending the flame at the tip of Charizard's tail. This is the final strike as Charizard falls to the side, defeated by the Human Torch. I think it's completely fair to say that Charizard would lose that battle and Human Torch would be the victor. So my question for you, Jeremy, in the Marvel Universe, who would be the best Pokemon trainer? Catch you next week.